Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with The Sopranos. Last time around we had mergers and acquisitions. The only thing I remember is Paulie was trying to help his mother at Green Grove. What else happened? Unfortunately the description doesn't tell me anything else either. It's been a little bit. We took a break between episodes. It was kind of a last second break that I decided to do, but it was definitely necessary. I enjoyed it. I'm all rested up, and I'm happy to get into the final 5 episodes of this season. But, yeah, genuinely, I don't remember what else happened last episode. Maybe I can go back to my notes. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, there was Valentina. That whole thing. That was all last episode? Yeah. Carmela is still doing money stuff. She doesn't trust Tony. Ralph is a masochist who likes candle wax dripped on his balls. Furio is in love with Carmilla. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty much it. That sounds like an episode of The Sopranos. Yeah. I guess I would go further with this recap, but genuinely I don't remember much. Obviously I will remember it as the episodes go on, so it's just a thing of, like, I already have trouble remembering stuff from a while ago, and namely with these shows. Like, I'll be like, did I say something? Like, if you guys ever quote me in these reactions, I will not remember that I said something, you know? So, but yeah, anywho, with that said, how about we get the ball rolling, and we'll start to remember stuff as we go. Let's jump right into this episode of The Sopranos. Here we go.
Soprano, Allison, Pat, Channel 6.
Allison, oh.
Oh my God! No!
Has he been shot? He got hit in the head by a boom.
John, I'm here at the federal courthouse.
That was a hell of a boom.
Mob boss Corrado Soprano just fell 7 steps.
Wow, good counting.
Great to see her run again. Had her first full-speed workout this morning.
Go ahead, force roll down. I'll be right there.
Tony's bringing Carmela to meet his second wife.
That's your friend.
Hello.
So majestic.
She's something, isn't she?
She is magnificent.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good girl.
What is it about horses, man?
Yeah.
Why do we love horses so much?
Hi, this is Detective Mike Hunt, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania Police Department.
Mike Hunt.
You have a son, Peter Paul?
Oh my God, what happened?
He's all right, ma'am, but I'm afraid he's in a little trouble. We found him in a public...
I probably shouldn't have even said that. Oh well.
I don't know how to put this...
It's just 2 separate words, YouTube. It's
Sucking a
fine.
Cub Scout stick.
No, it's a mistake.
Ma'am, I wish that
Is he
was
prank
all.
calling Paulie's mom?
After discovery of a small rodent in the rectal passage.
Oh my God.
A gerbil, ma'am. The county does not cover medical procedures deemed caused by criminal sexual activity.
What is he doing?
Section 4...
Fucking douchebag.
Guess who came in earlier? Tommy Formicola.
Uncle Joe. Tommy Formicola died a few years ago.
Oh, this isn't good.
Not Tommy Ichidro, the son, Tommy.
Jesus Christ, you had me worried there for a minute.
Okay.
When you came in yesterday,
You know, you should have guessed. You all keep naming your sons after yourselves.
Yellow.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing?
Just on our way to St. Stephen's Green, grab some dinner. Why? What's going on?
What's going on? Back here in the States, I think we got a mistrial.
Oh.
The bow is meant to find the ring.
Dick.
Yeah!
Whoa!
My turn.
That was dangerous, but cool.
All right, nobody move him. Don't touch him, okay? I gotta get help.
Well, this is just an unrelated tragedy for Ralph. Now we're at a different hospital. For different people.
Any breath in his lungs for 5 minutes, so there was no oxygen to the brain.
That's bad. That's really bad. Okay. No more playing with bows and arrows.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
This is my ex-husband, Justin's biological father. He was supposed
Huh.
to take him to the archery range.
Die like this!
Tony, separate him.
Get off
You're just fooling around. Just fooling around?
Ugh! Stop! Well, stop.
This is like the only thing Ralph has ever cared for, apparently.
If the court finds you lack fitness to proceed, the trial will be suspended and the charges against you dismissed with prejudice or delayed.
I call this woman.
Now
juvenile
we're
care
talking.
agency.
How are you? I just didn't understand what you were going through, Rowan. I didn't know anything. I was stupid. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's okay.
My god, character growth.
Svetlana, I've been wanting to talk to you.
I bring nurse. I don't come to see you.
I should never have taken your prosthesis. But it did bring me to the Lord.
You're a boring woman.
I'm so glad someone can just push Janice aside.
What's your problem now?
Like anyone would care.
I don't. You could cry.
Pleased to meet you.
How are you doing?
Oh my god.
I feel like such a hypocrite. I haven't been in church in years.
Big things are happening with Ralph today.
Mass.
Were you there when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain?
He used to have a beard. What happened to that?
He's making my son pay for it. That's how he's punishing me.
God is merciful. He doesn't punish people.
Anymore.
Good morning, you.
It was... Yeah, what would you look like if that had happened to him?
I've ever asked for French toast.
And just eat the bacon.
It's unhealthy, this whole obsession with your weight.
He's trying to stay
So,
slim in his teenage years.
Where were you at so late last night?
Fuck, I wish I did that. Oh well.
Have calls to me.
Yeah. I think this has gotten to Tony a little bit too.
Seeing that girl you used to date, Valentina.
Hold on. Gears are turning.
I gotta go.
I will either get over this or I will be infuriated later.
Well, maybe you should go see Pi. Take your mind off.
Oh, I know. Lois called. Told me about the bargain handicap, grade 1. You look after it. I can't.
Oh, I understand.
Give my best to Camilla. She's been a great help.
I will.
I mean, dude, if you need, go sit with that horse. It could be very therapeutic. That's not even a joke. I mean, literally.
Rafael. How's it going, pal?
Thanks for the flowers. They were beautiful.
Is Polly pissed? He didn't even look at Polly. He just left.
I don't care if he's got 100 kids in the ICU with arrows in their heads. He's a piece of shit. You know it, and I know.
Who got you those no-shows?
I mean...
And I promise you something else. On my own man's grave. I get proof it was him, he's a fucking corpse.
Nobody's killing anybody.
All due respect, T. Here's a line in the sand when it comes to mothers.
You lay a hand on him, and you're gonna answer to me. If you can quote the rules, you can fucking obey them. You hear me?
Damn. I did... Yeah.
I'm going to say 3 words, and I want you to repeat them. Boat, flag, shirt.
Boat.
Boat.
Shirt.
Shirt.
Let me
Fuck.
give you a hint. We pledge allegiance to the...
United
Titties.
States of America.
Who is the president of the United States?
Oh, shit.
I want to go to bed with George Bush.
And who was the president before George Bush?
Ronald Reagan.
John Kennedy.
Well, that's even
You know where
worse.
I was when he was shot. I was
Dude,
getting
stop
a
fucking
haircut.
smiling. You're gonna ruin it. Oh, that's an ass. Just casually showing an ass on screen. Not that I'm surprised. We're 4 seasons in, but...
There was a fire at the stables.
No.
They lost some horses.
Pi, oh my?
She survived, but
Why did you tell me I'm a half hour late back from lunch?
I'm sorry. We did everything we could, but she had to be destroyed. She was too badly burned.
What? Well, my day is ruined.
No.
Sorry.
I could, like, quit this show right now. You've got to be kidding me, man. Ow. Ow! Is there no better way to moving a horse's body? Well, the goat survived.
That's why Lois called me. After 4 messages, I got on the machine.
3 of the horses, too.
Jesus. Oh, look, Tona,
It took me a second, because I was like, why would Ralph do this, if that's what they're implying? But then I thought about it. Wait a minute.
Poor kid will have to learn how to talk all over again. Years in rehab.
Yeah.
It's good.
He'll walk. He'll use his hands.
Yeah. He'll live.
Goes on, huh?
At this point, the fire marshal says that it looks accidental.
What sick fuck would do something like that on purpose, huh? You know, Tone, Justin loves my eggs. See, sour cream's a big ingredient.
God. Did
What sick fuck?
they just lose the sympathy they had built for Ralph over this episode?
What are you saying? You think I had something to do with it?
I didn't.
Anthony, what are you, a fucking arson investigator now? Come on. They said it was an accident, right?
See how he's going back into his normal Ralphie-isms? You know, I've been calling him Ralph all episode, now he's going back to Ralphie.
Don't give me that look. It was a fucking horse. What are you, a vegetarian? You eat beef and sausage by the fucking carload.
Ooh! Oh god, the eggs! Oh!
You fat fuck!
Ah! There's a knife. That's worse than eggs. Ah! Oh, right in his eyes. Oh, the nuts.
You fucking killed her! You killed her! You fucking killed her!
God, I can't believe the show treats this with more importance than most character deaths. Ugh. Get some water in your eyes, man. Did you kill him? Did you fucking kill Ralphie? Okay, you caught him before... Oh, goddamn, he just took it. God damn it, Chris. Every time we have to call Chris, he's about to take something.
Hello, it's me. I need you to call me back from a payphone. Now? You got 3 minutes.
Just assume anytime you're about to use that Tony's gonna call you. Huh.
I found him like this.
Yes, sir. No questions here.
Guy was a piece of shit. Whoever did this should have happened a long time ago.
You should call Polly.
So what do you want to do? Get rid of the body.
He's just dead. I don't even have to... I wrote down Polly. I guess I don't need to write down Polly anymore.
No body, no murder. Can't take him out till after dark, so get him ready here.
You know how they... You know how you guys did this with Richie 2 seasons ago?
T, okay, I snorted a little H. It was out of my collections, and I just wanted to come down so I could get some sleep.
What if Ralphie's not dead?
Ah!
Whoa.
Holy shit! I had no idea, did you?
Of course I did.
Huh.
So high on skag, you wouldn't know if he had your mother's muff on his head.
Well, he wore it pretty well. I didn't know. Well, he's definitely dead now.
About your horse, T. Sorry. What the fuck happened over there, you think? Tragic.
That's okay. Oh my god. You'll get it when you're older.
Go get it. Help weigh him down.
Oh my god. This is a fucking sight. Haunt you for the rest of your days. Oh, that's not what I was expecting today, but here we are.
I done drugs when I was younger. Even done coke with you.
Yeah, you're acting like some kind of skeeved junkie. Only do it once in a while. Somebody
Yet it's
gave me
every
some
time I
kind of
call
money.
you.
1, 2.
There he goes. Sayonara, Ralphie. God, they're burying the head and hands separately. Now, can you operate it? He's working on it. He knows what he's doing. He's got a cigar and everything. There you go. Well, this has been a very involved process, I must say. Also, is no one gonna... Well... I guess nobody lives here anymore, but... Nobody's gonna notice that freshly dug earth...
Pick leaves and shit over it.
And pat it down,
Learn how to
really.
drive one of those. We're in father's construction site. Let me fuck around when I was just 13. He's a good guy.
That's a very practical skill to know. I don't know it. So, you know, I'd be fucked in this situation, but...
Here's the problem, as I see it, with Ralph getting whacked. People could take it the wrong way.
I mean... Some.
What are you trying to convey to me, eh?
Friends of ours. Like it could happen to them. Without, you know...
You're the only other one that knows about it.
Don't tell him. Well, this was fun. Feds are watching him.
Hi, Mr. Soprano.
Can I have some ice cream?
What? Well, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gotta play the fool. Tony in a t-shirt. I've never seen that before, actually, I think. It's like my dad. My dad doesn't wear t-shirts. Not like, you know, these kinds, the graphic tees. Did he leave? Oof. Alright then. Okay. Well. You know, I kept waiting. I was like, well, maybe he'll get back up, you know. So happens your friend is only mostly dead. And then Chris started chopping off body parts, and then it's like, okay, well, that's definitely, he's dead then. All right. Well, it's the straw that broke the horse's back. The other thing, we're never even going to really know, did Ralph do it or not? Did Ralph set that fire? Probably. He probably did, but man. Oh, boy. Well, that is the end of Ralph. Since season 2, we gotta end a season on killing a main character. Richie, Jackie, Ralphie. Always has to end with an E. With an IE. That said, there are 4 more episodes, which is different. And this time, it was Tony that did it. So, it's an interesting thing. I'm assuming the next 4 episodes are going to be the fallout of Ralph being dead, but we'll have to see. It's so funny because I wrote down Polly, and then I hadn't wrote the second part of the note, which was going to be, something about, not following the rules or whatever and stuff. And then Ralphie died. And so I literally just went in and put, never mind. That stuff is over. Ralphie's dead. That is the end of Ralphie. Alright. I was not expecting this today, but here we are. I mean, okay, Ralph as a character. He's certainly an interesting one. I will always maintain he was not as good as Richie. But then again, the show never really wanted him to fill that role. At first you think that's what he's doing, that he's filling that role, but then season 3 just doesn't lend itself to that, Because then it becomes more about Jackie than about Ralphie. So. And this season has been interesting with him where, he has kind of fit into his role. He's a capo. And he fits into his role. He's had some trouble with Paulie, sure. But overall, he's, after that whole incident, basically. After that incident, pretty much once he was made captain, that kind of resolved everything, And I mean, there was some trouble, but that was just because Ralph was Ralph, Heck, most of his trouble this season has been with Johnny Sack, not with Tony, Which is an interesting thing. It's a really interesting thing that he's had trouble with Johnny, not with Tony. Tony, if anything, hadn't had a ton of troubles. At least not troubles that were directly because of him. Directly tied to him. Obviously there were troubles with Uncle June's trial, with Johnny and everything, but it was nothing where, Tony was an active participant, The whole thing between Ralphie and Johnny, and I'm kicking stuff under my desk, the whole thing with Johnny was just about Ralphie. Tony had to deal with that because he was the boss, He was... And he's Ralphie's boss, so he has to deal with that, but... And it's crazy, too, because we were, just a few episodes ago, we thought Johnny was going to get whacked. But, no. Johnny's alive. Ralph is now not. So, Johnny and Paulie could both, you could tell them and they'd be like, all right. It's interesting when Chris brings up the topic of, well, the others, they might not feel, they feel less safe that, just at any point, you piss off Tony, he will kill you, but the thing is, you really gotta piss him off. Paulie, Silvio, even Chris are nowhere near the levels of pissing off Tony that Ralphie had. That was Ralphie's career, basically, was pissing off Tony. Is crazy. So, yeah. Man. I will also say, as devastating as the death of Pyomai is, and it's incredibly devastating. I like that they took this death the most seriously of any death on this show, I feel like. And that's saying something, because Jackie's death was pretty significant last season. You know, like, this is really just on Tony. Like, you know, everyone else was sad about Jackie last season. Tony is the only one sad about Pyomai, and yet it feels so much bigger, you know? It feels so much more significant. Pyomai wasn't looking for trouble, though, you know? And it's so weird, because it's like, I thought I was gonna, you know, get to the end of this episode and be like, oh, man, this sucks that Pyomai died. Like, I was gonna make a show of it, but even still, it's like, it's still kind of genuine, where I was like, that sucks. That sucks that Pyomai died, you know? But then, it's like, this show, like, it just, like, we got the revenge, basically. We killed Ralphie. We killed Ralphie. Tony killed Ralphie, and that was that, you know? And so now I'm just sitting here like, well, I guess Pyomai has been avenged? I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of weird. It's like, I'm sad about Pyomai, but even still, it's like, obviously, she was... It's not even that, oh, she was a horse. She was a horse in a television show. You know? This was not a real horse that died. And it's not my horse. It's the horse of fictional character Tony Soprano. You know? Like, there's a few degrees of separation there. Even more from, you know, someone close to Tony dying. You know? Like, this isn't a death on Game of Thrones or something, where it's just like, but I really like that character stuff. Like, you know, this was a horse in many background scenes, you know? And I guess we're not even talking about Ralph's repentance, I guess? Didn't repent that much if he still killed Pyomai. But Ralph's repentance, which is interesting. And now it doesn't matter anymore, but it was interesting. Seeing Ralphie being so concerned. I didn't even know he had a son. But... And it's interesting that he had a son that... that did not take his name. Like, that's always the big thing, is, you know... Like, when Tony goes to Uncle June, he's like, oh, you know, Tommy came to visit me. And he's like, Tommy's been dead for years. And he's like, no, that's son, you moron. And he's like, oh, okay, you know. It's like, yeah. Which I like that they played with that a little bit. It's like, oh, you know, Tommy came to visit me. And it's just like, Tommy, no. You know, Tommy's been dead for years. Like, no, you idiot. Not him. Not the dad. It's just like, I like that they play with that, you know? Like, so that was kind of funny. Which that's an entire other side thing that we'll have to talk about later, but yeah, but Ralphie being so distraught over Justin, it's good, you know, maybe it was, I mean, but that's the thing, is you kind of look at it, it's like, oh, you know, maybe this is a wake-up call, he's going to turn it around, and then Pyomai, and it's just like, nope. I mean, it's what Paulie said, it's like, oh, now he's a saint, you know? It's like, he's still a piece of shit, even after all of this, you know? It's true, Paulie was correct, so... It's so interesting, too, because when they first did that, and I was like, oh, what are they doing? You know, they're playing with a bow, and then you just see it land in the box, and and I was just like, oh, wow, that's really dangerous. Anyway, moving on. Next scene, that kid... right through. Good grief, man. At least, you know, they did say, it's like, well, you know, he's gonna have to learn how to talk all over again, but he'll be able to walk, he'll be able to use his hands, he'll, you know, with years of rehab, he will pull through it. And it's like, well, thank God for that, you know? And it was interesting, you know, with Ralph talking to Rosalie about, about, like, oh, you know, I didn't understand, you know? I didn't understand what you were going through and apologizing and stuff. And it's like, that's good. Like, it sets you up. It, like, sets you up for failure. That it's like, it's all these, like, good things with Ralphie. And then he goes and slips back and he kills Pyomai. Probably because he's going through all of this and he learned that Tony was banging Valentina. It's so sad. Specifically about Pyomai. And then, how long was that sequence, too? So that was, what, like 20 minutes? 20 minutes of Tony and Chris dealing with Ralph's body. Which was interesting. The fight, that was crazy. I mean, how many times have we seen Tony kill someone, you know? And it's been a couple times, but, like, normally he just, like, executes someone with a gun. Like, this was a fight, and he killed Ralphie, you know? I guess that's the difference, is we've normally seen him execute someone, but this time it was a fight to the death, and Tony won. So, and then they went and... It's interesting, too. It's also interesting, too, because, like, with Chris being like, oh, you know, what are we gonna do and stuff, it's like, Chris, you helped deal with Richie 2 seasons ago, and now you're asking questions of what, you know, why we got to do this, but maybe it's the coke, I don't know, or the heroin, I guess. But yeah, but that was interesting, and then, you know, them burying, you know, burying the body, and then burying the head and the hands and the toupee separately. Good grief, man. And, you know, them operating the digger was funny, so... And it's interesting, too, because, like, you would almost think that Tony would call Paulie, because Paulie would be all in on it, but it is interesting because he called Chris, and only Chris, but he's trying to get Chris to get better, you know? He's trying to get Chris into a position where he can kind of take over as the voice of the boss, you know? So Tony isn't so directly involved anymore, but man, oh man. On top of all of this, in this episode, we have the whole thing with June. That was interesting. I mean, good grief. I will say, because it's like, June, he's the same as he's always been, you know? He realizes that pretty reporter is there, so he turns, and because of that, he got knocked on his ass. But it's interesting how they do that, where it's like, oh, you know, he could be really out of it, and then the next day it's like, no, he's fine. He's honestly fine. I mean, sure, he still has a concussion, but he's pretty solid for a man of his age taking that kind of a fall and concussion. But then I like, you know, Tony realizing, like, we could use this. We could use this to get you a mistrial. So, that's clever. That's very, very clever. And when you know, they're like, you know, who's the president? George Bush. Who was the president before him? John Kennedy. He's just like going off, and it's just like, oh man. I remember in 2020 I had a car wreck, and it was when I injured my wrist, and there's stuff. This was like right before the pandemic happened, by the way, and I've talked about this before on other videos. You can actually see on some of my older videos that I actually videos where I have the like the cast basically on my wrist. I'm trying to write with my left hand and stuff, but when that happened, the paramedics arrived and stuff, or whoever, the first responders or whatever, and I had like stood up from where I was, and then I was like, nope, and I had to like sit back down immediately because I was like, oh, my head's not good. And luckily it resolved itself pretty quickly. But I remember when they were asking me questions to make sure I was okay, and they were like, you know, what's today's date? And it was Valentine's Day, and it was February 14th and stuff, and they're like, who's the president? And I stopped for a second. I was like, oh fuck, I guess it's Trump. Donald Trump. And I said that. Mainly because it was just a thing. Even in 2020, it was 4 years on, and I was like, I never really thought about that. It's like, probably because my first instinct would have been, is like, who's the president? Obama. You know? But that's because that's who I think of as the president. The current president, who unfortunately now is the president again, well, there's a word I want to say that they would say on The Sopranos, but then I would have to remember to actually bleep myself out in the discussion, and I'm probably not going to remember that. But you get the idea. So, but I remember that I remembered having to answer that question, you know, because June was asked that question too, but he has to fake it, you know, which is funny. So, but yeah, really good episode otherwise. Just a bit surprising. That is the end of Ralph Cifaretto. So, where are we going for the rest of this season? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Sopranos reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.